Good afternoon, everybody. It's been a 7-week break, but we're finally back in Premier 15's action here at Sandy Park. Exeter Chiefs taking on Loughborough Lightning with the chance to go third in the table today. Have to say, it's bitterly cold and I'm struggling to feel my fingers already, but I'm delighted to say that Rachel Johnson is joining me in the commentary box today. Rachel, delighted to have you with me, and should be a good one out there today.
Yeah, super excited about this game. Worth the cold. My fingertips are already a little bit frozen, but hopefully the action on the pitch will heat us up.
Like I said, it's been a 7-week break from league action. It's been a couple of weeks of cup action as well, and international duty. I said beforehand, I promise I won't touch on your injury, but let's focus on the positives. How good was it to be back out there playing international rugby after such a long time away from it?
Oh, autumn internationals were super special. For USA, it was a great learning experience. A lot of the ladies haven't played rugby in a super long time, so us playing in the Prem, we're able to bring some of our experience over, and trying to put all those pieces together on the international stage was super fun.
There's a lot of new caps in the side as well for lots of sides getting ready for the World Cup. For you, like you said, lots of the American players are playing in the Premier 15s this season, lots at Chiefs and a lot at Gloucester now as well. What does that experience of playing Premier 15s bring when you go into that international setup?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The Prem has the best women's rugby in the world right now, and so it's super special to be a part of this league. And I think just the pure fact of playing rugby right now brings a lot over, but playing at the speed and getting to play against some of our international competition, is super useful.
And talking about the Premier 15s then, back in action today against Loughborough Lightning. They're sitting 8th in the table at the moment. That victory over DMP, their sole win, but they've got loads of their key players back today, and 2 really close games last season, 7 points in it away from home, 5 points in it at home. It's going to be a really tough task today at Sandy Park, isn't it?
Definitely. Loughborough, they've got some beautiful kickers on their team who know where to put the ball, and the weather conditions today will definitely play a role in that and seeing how that affects kicks. And then they've also got a lovely line-out drive that we're going to have to be super on our toes to make sure that doesn't get over the try line.
And looking at the Chiefs as well then, we'll run through the team news for you shortly, but just a couple of players to pick out. Obviously, with injuries bring opportunities, and Maisie Allen stepping into your 7 jersey today. She was fantastic in the cup matches recently as well. What sort of a character and a player is she to have around the squad?
Super excited for Maisie and her first Prem start. Like you said, great showcase in the cup games. She's come off the bench super strong in previous Prem games, and being able to see her in the university setup as well has been super exciting. So she brings a super tenacity that comes with youth, but also a lot of knowledge and experience beyond her years. So excited to see what she does with that today.
And what's that been like with the university setup? Obviously, you've been there helping Poppy out this season as well, and there's a load of university players in that Chief squad today. They've been going really well as well.
Exactly. Poppy's done wonders with the university side, giving a lot back, and it's awesome to see those girls step up in the Chiefs jersey. Excited to see how Nancy goes today as well, because she really stands out in the university game, so I think she'll have a good showing here today as well.
And Susie talked about Nancy in the build-up to this one as well. She's been really solid at inside centre those first 2 cup games. Spoke to Chiefs TV and admitted that she was shocked, was the word she kept using several times at having the opportunity, but she's really taken to this standard of rugby like a duck to water, hasn't she?
Definitely. She's threatening with ball in hands, with her kicks, and also her defensive line speed. So this will be a big stage for her and a big step up, but I think she's definitely up to the task.
So Exeter Chiefs then have just made their way back into the changing rooms below us. Loughborough are in a huddle on the 22 before they head in themselves, and that gives us an opportunity to run through the teams for you today, starting then with the Exeter Chiefs. Obviously, a number of international players missing. Rachel alongside me, Kanako Kobayashi, McKinley Hunt and Gabby Cantona, but it's still a squad packed with experience. Chloe Rowley comes in for her first league start for the club at fullback, having made her debut against Sale Sharks in the Cup several weeks ago. She is joined then in the back 3 by the potent strike force of Laura Sheehan and Janine Desevo. And then in the centres, it's an all-university pairing of Nancy McGillivray and Meryn Deutsch. Half-back Flo Robinson will steer the ship from 10 alongside experienced Spanish international Patricia Garcia. And up front, there's a return for the Chiefs at prop for Sachiko Cato. She's joined in the front row by Clara Nielsen and Laura Delgado. In the pack, it's as you were as it has been for the last couple of weeks of league action. Co-captain Poppy Leach, joined by Linda van der Velden, and in the back row, Ebony Jeffries continues at number 6, Maisie Allen, as we've already touched on, in at open side flanker, and co-captain and USA international captain Kate Zachary returning to the team at number 8. For Loughborough Lightning then, 6 of this starting XV played their most recent Premiership Cup match, and there's a number of players that have come back into the side from their most recent Allianz Premier 15s game against Worcester Warriors as well. For them in the backs, Fran Goldthorpe comes in at fullback, and on the wings, look out for Scottish international Megan Gaffney and Georgie Lingham. Helen Nelson and Georgina Tasker are in the centres, and it's an all-international half-back pairing of Jenny Maxwell and Helena Rowland, who, sadly, have to say, caused some damage against the USA for England at Six Ways last weekend. Up front, again, it's an all-international front row. Tisha Harper, Lark Davis, last season's Allianz Premier 15's top try scorer, and Scotland international Christine Belissi. Second row, Emma Wassell and Iona Antis. And in the back row, Sarah Svoboda, recent England cap Sadia Kabea, and captain Rachel Malcolm. On the bench then for both teams, the all-Canadian front row trio of Emily Totosi, Olivia De Merchant and Dalika Menin return for the Chiefs, whilst new Chiefs signing Nicola Friday could make her debut off the bench. There could also be first league appearances of the season for the Chiefs for Ailey Sinclair and Garnet McKinder after performing brilliantly for the side in the recent Prem Cup. For Loughborough as well, they've got experience to bring off the bench as well, and watch out for Swedish international Maja Muller, who's been an absolute weapon at the breakdown for them this season. We've kind of touched on it a little bit there with the Chiefs, and I've kind of touched on Loughborough a little bit as well, Rachel, but having those players back, I know they're missing the likes of Sarah Hunter, Kath O'Donnell, Emily Scarrett, but that's still such an experienced team and a fantastic side for them to be able to put out today as well, isn't it?
Yeah, super excited to see what they do here at Sandy Park. And I think sometimes when certain players are missing, it gives a space for other players to step up, so definitely not to be underestimated.
And it really says something about the strength in depth as well if Sarah Hunter's unavailable and Rachel Malcolm comes straight into the side again after international duty at captain and captains the side. We touched on a little bit there Helena Rowland, and obviously those that were watching the match at Six Ways last week will have seen her running threat, and she is such a potent weapon for Loughborough if they want to make their backline and their attacking game tick today, isn't she?
She really is. Ball in hand, ball off the boot. Like I said, she sees an attack space extremely well, so definitely a threat that we're going to need to minimize.
And I could keep touching on it. Has been 7 weeks since there was any league action, but it was defeat last time out against Saracens away at the StoneX Stadium. Is a match that Susie Appleby was disappointed with in the end. She admitted afterwards it took 60 minutes or so for the side to get going. But I suppose it's been a bit of a reset in this 7 weeks, but there's still going to be lessons to take from that performance, aren't there?
Definitely. That game was especially rough just because we probably beat ourselves more than anything. And so I think today if we can come out strong, we will save ourselves a big headache of having to try to come back from a game that we're totally capable of dominating in.
We keep touching on the fact that it's been a freezing cold day today, but conditions-wise, freezing as I keep saying, but clear, sunny to an extent, but it should be a really good game for running rugby for both sides as well. And we've touched on Helena Rowland, but Patricia Garcia and Flo Robinson at half-back for Chiefs, that should really open up the back line to attack, shouldn't it?
Exactly, and then we have a super threatening back three, so if they want to kick us the ball, I back us to have a go off of that as well. But yeah, like you said, up here it's cold, but down there the sun is out, the sky's pretty clear, so I think we're going to have a good game of rugby.
The atmosphere then is starting to build below us, and it's fantastic to see so many in again to watch the game today. I've asked everybody that's come up and join me in commentary this season, but after last season and having to play without any fans, it just must be so good to be back in front of crowd cheering you on for the duration of the match.
Yeah, exactly. Sandy Park's a wonderful field to play at, but having fans here this season really makes you appreciate that even more. We have a lovely fan base here, and it seems like keep getting more support for the women's game at home. And since you've mentioned the Autumn Internationals, it was super exciting to see how many fans came out for some of those games. So the growth of women's rugby that we're getting from different fan bases is super exciting.
Just a few minutes then to go until kick-off here at Sandy Park. Both teams are now back in the changing rooms going through final messages. And Rachel, it's one of those, obviously, just whilst we're waiting for the teams to come out, what sort of messages are there that go in the huddle before you come out, and from Kate and Poppy?
Yeah, exactly. They're super good at motivating us, not trying to reinvent the wheel, just going over those key headlines that we need for the match and letting us know that we can count on them, but that they expect something of us as well. Probably some big messages around playing to the conditions and bringing our physicality right from the very get-go.
Almost time for a kick-off here then. Loughborough Lightning making their way out onto the field. I know we keep touching on how chilly it is, but the pink and purple certainly brightens up the Sandy Park afternoon. And they go into their huddle, and here's the roar then for Exeter Chiefs. And they're led out then by Poppy Leach and Kate Zachary ahead of this one. Huge roar from the crowd, and the officials make their way out onto the pitch as well. Adam Wookie refereeing today's match, vastly experienced at this level. Final messages then for both teams. On the field now as well, and it's nearly time for Premier 15's action to resume in Devon. Just a huddle then from Chiefs, key messages going in, a chant of Chiefs from the team, and it will be Loughborough Lightning who get us underway here at Sandy Park this afternoon. Helena Rowland then with her hands on the ball on halfway. Referee just checks with both teams. And there's the whistle then. We are back underway in the Premier 15s at Sandy Park. Long, deep kick from Rowland, fielded well by the Chiefs, and Garcia there quickly. And they go blind. Clara Nielsen gets her hands on the ball early doors. Chiefs then keeping it tight in these opening exchanges. And an early penalty for the Chiefs at the breakdown. Only 30 seconds or so in, but that's the perfect opportunity now for Chiefs to clear their lines and get into the Loughborough half, isn't it, Rachel?
Exactly. We've been putting some changes into our line out, so a good opportunity to showcase what we've got.
A solid kick then finds touch near the Chiefs 10-metre line, and first line out of the day, Clara Nielsen to throw.
Can definitely see that wind out there. Well thrown, well taken.
Definitely can. It's a brilliant first line out there from Nielsen, and she wraps around and carries hard into contact, making a bit of a name for herself recently with her try scoring feats as well, 2 in 2 in the Premiership Cup. And Garcia then marshalling her pack, setting herself up for the box kick for Detavo to chase. And it's gone very high, but no real distance on that. It's bouncing about. A knock on and offside from Exeter Chiefs, and it's a penalty for Loughborough Lightning. An opportunity now for them to hammer themselves down into or near to the Chiefs 22 and have their first big attacking opportunity of the match.
Exactly. Unfortunate error, but an opportunity early in the game for us to show what we've got on defense.
And that defence, it's something that Chiefs have prided themselves on, the best record at home in terms of points conceded as well. It's been a real weapon for the side, hasn't it, for the last season and so far this season as well.
Exactly, it's true what they say, defense wins games.
Line out then from Lark Davis, superbly taken at the back. Ball bounces around on the floor, but it's gone backwards, and Loughborough then can get themselves into their attacking position here. Maxwell then feeds to Tisha Harper, and she carries hard up towards the Exeter 22. Loughborough then looking to the blind. There is space for them. It looks like it's Sadie Cabea on that far side who's gone bursting through. Loughborough building nicely here in these opening exchanges. Chiefs trying to hassle and harry them at the breakdown, but Loughborough still with ball in hand. Flat pass from Maxwell. And again, the ball gets shipped wide. Inside ball from Loughborough there. And they're still building nicely. Hammer the call from below us from the Chiefs team, and that's just what they need in defence. A slightly misplaced pass, but it's covered well and gathered well by Megan Gaffney on that far side. Loughborough now outside the Chiefs 22, still keeping ball in hand though and building the phases nicely here. There's Roland, little show and go from the fly half. She's stopped well by Sachiko Kato. Chiefs defence holding firm here. Loughborough continue to search for an opening and for some space. It's gone out the back now. Lovely pass out the back. There is space. Sheehan almost gets a hand to it. It's a knock-on from Loughborough. Solid defence there, and there is an opportunity for Chiefs if they're quick. The crowd roaring them on, and in fact it's a full penalty there. Coming in from the side, the Loughborough player there, it looks like it was scrum half Jenny Maxwell. And all in all, obviously disappointment for Chiefs to concede that early penalty, but as Rachel said, defence wins games, and that's a positive start for the Chiefs as Garcia drills that one into touch.
Yeah, found touch well, and another go at our line out here.
Line out then directly on halfway, and a first opportunity for Chiefs to get themselves into the Loughborough half and build a bit of territory and possession. Message to Nielsen from Sachiko Kato. Leach takes well out to Garcia. McGillivray pops up at first receiver, out the back to Robinson. Slight breakdown in communication there, it has to be said, but it's taken well by Laura Sheehan, and Chiefs do now break into that Loughborough half. A strong little half charge there, and Garcia then looks wide to Robinson, and the ball then is shipped on by Chloe Rowley to Desivo. She takes play up to the 10-metre line. Strong carry there from the winger. No advantage coming though, says the referee. And we'll come back for an Exeter Chiefs penalty with Loughborough guilty of taking the player off the ball. Garcia then just steadies herself. Solid enough kick from the scrum half. Nielsen wants her hands on the ball quickly. Messages again going to the hooker from Prop Cato. Loughborough then try and make a nuisance of themselves at line out time, but Leach takes well. McGillivray bursts through, little show and go from the centre. Really strong carry on her first league start for the club, and Garcia then thinks she's spread us in space, kicks through. Patricia Garcia, has she got the legs? Hauled down a metre short, and Chiefs can't quite gather the bouncing ball. Knock on, but a first little spark of what Patricia Garcia brings to the team, and an early impact there from Nancy McGillivray as well to get her hands on the ball early doors and cause some real damage there. That's going to do wonders for her confidence.
Exactly, great confidence to see her in that carry, and field position wise this is a perfect place for a scrum.
An opportunity, as you said, perfect place. It might be a Loughborough ball at the scrum, but it's a bit of a free hit for the Chiefs at scrum time. Can really put some pressure on this Loughborough pack. Garcia then just giving some messages out to her backs. Robinson and Doidge on that side, or McGillivray and Doidge, I beg your pardon, on that side, with Robinson and Sheehan covering this near side by the main stand.
Interesting to see if Loughborough decides to kick straight from the scrum or have a little go as well.
first scrum of the match as well, and it's a penalty for the Chiefs. A fantastic scrum. Loughborough then guilty of collapsing under the pressure of the front row. An interesting choice for the Chiefs. They take quickly through Cato. They're a metre out, tried to catch Loughborough out there, and Chiefs then immediately onto the front foot here. Looking for the opportunity, almost over there, and a strong carry there, a metre out now for the Chiefs. They're getting closer, they're edging closer. Loughborough defending with all of their worth and putting up a great fight so far, and it's been spread wide. Laura Sheehan can't quite gather the bouncing ball though from Flo Robinson. Loughborough foot though goes into touch, an opportunity begging for the Chiefs, but a knock on, says the referee, as Sheehan went to gather that, and a let off for Loughborough, and have to say a slight disappointment there for Chiefs that that one wasn't converted.
Yeah, definitely. We need to take the opportunities when they're given to us, but hopefully we can put the pressure to them at this scrum again.
So last time out in the scrum, it was an Exeter Chiefs penalty. Let's see what happens this time around. Loughborough still camped on their 5 metre line under pressure from the Chiefs. And that will be a reset scrum. Not quite stable there from either side. And the referee just having a word with both front rows, reminding them about their duties and making sure they actually do engage.
Exactly. Not a job I'd want, but a lot of respect for the front rows out there.
So it must be a nice one as a flanker, just being able to hang on the side, push for all your worth, and break off nice and quickly.
Exactly. Everyone's got their own skill set.
Free kick for Chiefs. Loughborough having some issues at the scrum early doors. Garcia thought about taking it quickly, just slows play down. Quick discussion from the Chiefs. And it'll be Cato to charge up towards the Loughborough line. She's met by a sea of pink. And then Chiefs go off their feet at the ruck. And it's a let off again for Loughborough, and an opportunity to clear their lines.
Yeah, it's an easy out by us at the Chiefs. We know the refs are looking for that off their feet and early latch. So something we need to be more disciplined about.
The lovely kick upfield then from Helena Rowland with not much angle to work with there. It's been a feature, that breakdown in terms of the penalties all season in both the men's and the women's game. Something the referees have said they're going to be really hot on this season. How much does that change things for you when you're competing?
It just forces us to be super clinical in our work and know when we can push the boundaries and what things we need to stay clinical about.
Rowland then fed Cabea a good carry then from the open side flanker, a recent England cap as well. And that's a huge boot downfield by Rowland. Robinson goes chasing back, feeds Chloe Rowley, an opportunity for her with ball in hand, and she kicks through and charges through, putting the pressure on. The ball is picked up though by Loughborough, and there is space out there if they can get the ball away, and they do well to get that ball away to Megan Gaffney, it looks like, again on that far side. Chiefs defence then back to the 4 here, and Maxwell. There's a lovely pass in there to look like Sarah Svoboda, but it was a knock-on in contact. Unfortunate there for Loughborough, and that was a really nice little bit of play from Rowland at fly half. Didn't quite come off. An opportunity again now for Chiefs. Their first push in to the scrum this afternoon. Just over 10 minutes into the match.
But like you said, Helena is a major threat for this side and can get a lot of meters back for her team in a short period of time, so definitely something that...
And with Helen Nelson as well at inside centre, two real ball players at 10 and 12 for Loughborough. Exeter have that as well, with Robinson at 10 and McGillivray at 12. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top in those matchups today as well. Huge Chiefs scrum. Zachary looks to break, just trips over the foot of her flanker and can't quite break away as much as she'd want to. Garcia then just has to realign and make sure Chiefs don't overrun the pass. Jeffries then, her first carry of the afternoon. A tip on then to Delgado. That looked like an interesting kick there from Garcia. She thinks she's seen space. It was originally fielded well by Fran Goldthorpe. She can't hold on to the ball though. It'll be a scrum for Exeter and an opportunity potentially now for the backs to get their hands on the ball again. It's been an interesting start, you have to say, for both teams. Chiefs have looked more threatening in terms of getting themselves into the red zone, but Loughborough as well have had that large amount of possession themselves, just struggled to break down that Chiefs defence thus far.
Yeah.
And let's see what Exeter can do now then. Got all of the space on the park to play with, provided that this is a clean scrum. It'll be a reset scrum again then.
We're super fortunate to have two very threatening wingers, so Loughborough's going to need to decide how they want to defend this. Got Laura out wide and Janine stacked behind.
And we've seen the pace of both of them so many times this season already. Janine's been absolutely fantastic in terms of her breaks, and obviously everyone will remember that try that Laura finished off against Harlequins earlier in the season. And just to have that threat and now those options as well in that back three, the fact that you've got Chloe Rowley in there today, Meryn Doidge shifting to 13, and that's before you even start considering the likes of Garnet McKinder on the bench and Niamh Terry as well, who's not in the side today. There's fantastic options for Susie Appleby now, especially in that back three.
Exactly, growing a lot of depth in those positions and a lot of hard decisions for Susie to make.
Let's see then, third time lucky at the scrum, if this can bring its rewards for the Chiefs. That one is much cleaner from both teams, and Garcia then out to Robinson to McGillivray. Hard carry from McGillivray, and she feeds well onto Doidge. Good bust upfield by the outside centre, and Doidge again. Chloe Rowley just has to check and step. Gets the ball away brilliantly, and Robinson pops up with the ball again. Garcia then below us feeds on to Leach. She tips on to Van der Velden. The second row can't hold on to the ball. Be a Loughborough scrum. Handling errors then just being, or just coming to the fore a little bit more at the moment for both sides. No, both sides are well into the game now, 15 minutes in, but I suppose you can put it down to the cold. Well, I'm going to anyway.
Exactly. Both teams are building momentum in different ways. It's just going to see who can finish off that momentum with a try.
Maxwell then to put in for her side. Rachel Malcolm packing down at number 8, vastly experienced Scottish international. It's an initial much better scrum from the visitors, and Malcolm breaks away well. Maxwell then feeds it back to Rowland. And that one though from the fly half, thought it had gone out on the full. Chiefs are pointing, thinking that it has. Referee just consults with his touch judge and decides that it has indeed gone out on the full. And Clara Nielsen then again there quickly just outside the Loughborough 22 for the Exeter line out. Rowland then, you can see the disappointment there, just a couple of metres, and that would have been a superb kick for her side. But it's an Exeter Chiefs attacking opportunity again if the line out can continue in the same fashion it has thus far. It's a bit loose.
Still ours.
It's a bit loose, but it's gathered well. And McGillivray to Jeffries. And Chiefs restructure and realign. And Leach, hard carry from the co-captain. Garcia searching for the ball. Eventually it's available. Robinson out the back to McGillivray again. She checks, decides to go back the other way. And Loughborough's defence holding firm and actually forcing the Chiefs back here now onto the 10-metre line. as Rowley pops up with ball in hand out to Desivo. Fantastic handoff by the American international. And again, it's Leach with the hard carry. Garcia, Robinson, Delgado with her first real carry of the afternoon of any menace, and that takes play back up towards the 22. Robinson with a little step and a check inside, and Chiefs are now into that Loughborough 22. Garcia goes searching for the ball, and as Jeffries again. Quick ball out. Van der Velden, good carry from the second row. Garcia then looks the other way to international teammate Delgado. Sachi Cato there to ruck over the ball. And there is space now. Kate Zachary pops up. Lovely offload to Laura Sheehan. And it's an opening try for the Chiefs. Fantastically worked. 18 minutes on the clock. Exeter Chiefs 5. Loughborough Lightning 0. And that was fantastic play from your international teammate there to get that ball away, Rachel.
It was beautiful. Good space recognition. She knew where the space was, and great skills to be able to link with Laura on the other side of defense.
And Chiefs have been hammering on the door for the large bulk of this opening 18 minutes or so. And after a couple of missed opportunities, they are finally rewarded here with that opening try. And that offloading game, we've seen it quite a lot this season from the Chiefs, and Susie's spoken a number of times about wanting to be a bit more expansive with the play as well, and you've seen it so many times in so many matches this season.
Exactly, and I think that is a natural progression. Last year being our first year as a team, kind of learning each other and learning our skill set and learning our structure of play, and this year being able to add those extra pieces that really make our structure come to life. We've got Patricia Garcia lining up for the kick. Let's see if we can add 2 more to that 5.
Fantastic nudge from the scrum half, and she takes it out to 7-0 to the Exeter Chiefs, and all of that early pressure, all of that patience in the Loughborough 22 has been rewarded with that early score and conversion.
In terms of momentum, the next phase is going to be super important, seeing who can, if Chiefs can continue to capitalize on this recent score, and what Loughborough is going to do in return.
And it's those exits right away after you've scored that are the most important thing. You see so often teams struggling to deal with that immediate pressure on from the team that have just conceded, and play going right back down the other end of the field.
Exactly. Looks like the Chiefs have decided to play a little bit here.
Chiefs then just setting their stall out here, keeping it tight. It's Delgado with the carry for the Chiefs. On the move, the call from below us. I think we all know what that means. Box kick coming up from Garcia. Loughborough then just making sure they don't stray offside. And that's a much better kick from the scrum half for Chiefs to chase. Loughborough though field it well. And indeed it's a strong carry there from Loughborough, but a penalty for Chiefs. Superb breakdown work.
Exactly. Excellent chop tackle, which gave rise to some space over the ball that Ebony got into beautifully. One way to make our way down the field.
Garcia then will line this one up and look to take Chiefs back into the Loughborough half. Fantastic work there from Ebony Jeffries at the breakdown. Again, keeping up that record, her and Merrin Doidge yet to miss a league or cup match for Exeter Chiefs since the start of last season, and having those local players coming in and really coming to the fore highlights the strength in depth and the strength of Southwest Rugby in general. Nielsen then lines this one up just on halfway, taken well, and McGillivray then feeds on to Jeffries. It's a great carry there from the flanker back into the Loughborough half. Garcia then has to go searching for the ball. That's a nice little bit of play there from Nielsen. She ducks under the first tackle. Tackle not completed, so she's able to go on a little bit further as well. Robinson, though, can't quite hold on to that ball. It's snaffled back by Loughborough. That's Georgina Tasker there, linking up with Iona Antwis to keep play going. Whilst their halfbacks were stuck at the bottom of the ruck. Maxwell now back in position. She goes back to Rowland. The kick is on. Zachary almost manages to get those long legs to it. Rowley then unable to hold the ball herself. There's a good net gain there for Loughborough. They'll be pleased with that outcome. An opportunity for Loughborough with just over 20 minutes on the clock to see if they can respond to that Laura Sheehan try. It's a loud call from the referee. Could hear that one up here, and Malcolm feeds to Maxwell. She thought about going blind, but goes the other way. And that's a fantastic line there from Loughborough, from number 13, Georgina Tasker, and she's managed to get over the line. Loughborough then pull themselves back into this match. It was a fantastic find from Helen Nelson, and a brilliant offload to Georgina Tasker, who raced over for that Loughborough try.
Yeah, Loughborough will be really happy with that outcome. Respond try for try. Not typical Exeter physicality on the defensive set. Looked like a little bit of indecision, but again, we've got some new people and some new roles, so if we can adapt well,
it'll be
we know what Loughborough is possible of.
So, Rachel, yeah, it will be disappointing there for the Chiefs, and Loughborough have been probing. We've seen a lot in this first 25 minutes. They've been asking questions of that Chiefs defence and just readying themselves, waiting for that opportunity, and they found it there. And it looks like it will be Helen Nelson that lines this one up for Loughborough. Both her and Helena Rowland looked like they were setting themselves for the try, or for the conversion rather, I should say. That's a good nudge there from the Scotland International inside centre, and she draws play level here. 7-all at Sandy Park, 25 minutes on the clock. And Chiefs now need to get themselves back down into that Loughborough territory and, like you said, Rachel, try and reimpose their physicality back on this match.
Exactly. Start that with a big kick chase coming up here.
Garcia then sizing up this restart for her side and switches back to go to the other way, the far right from our side, and good work there on the chase from the Chiefs and a knock on from Loughborough. We said about reimposing that physicality. That was exactly what was needed there for the Chiefs to get themselves back down into Loughborough territory and see what they can do.
Exactly, forcing that turnover and giving us a great attacking platform.
Garcia then to put in to the scrum. Loughborough's defence looks quite narrow from up here. There is space for Rowley and Sheehan if the ball can come out and get over to them quickly enough. Robinson then to McGillivray to Doidge, and Doidge carries hard. McGillivray over to support her teammate, and there's a carry there for Maisie Allen into the 22. That's the physicality that Chiefs have been missing for the last few minutes, and Robinson again then out to Leach. Leach then stops, steadies herself, passes to Rowley, who feeds to wing Laura Sheehan, but it's gone forwards from the fullback. And Loughborough celebrate. Successful bit of defence there for the visitors. And Chiefs will be disappointed that they haven't quite made those opportunities stick. They've had several. Only one so far has reaped its rewards with Sheehan going over.
Exactly. Like you said, in Maisie's carry, nice and direct and at the defense. Loughborough hasn't been super successful with us when we're super direct. So I think just a little bit more decisiveness in our carries could help us out a lot.
Maxwell then to put in to this scrum. After those first couple, the Loughborough scrum has really been rock solid. Malcolm picks up from the base, charges through Flo Robinson, but the fly half does well to pull the number 8 down. The ball's carried back. Nelson then booming boot downfield for Rowley to gather, and she's off. She sees space. Just go, the call from Susie Appleby, and Chloe Rowley tries to stretch her legs. Fantastic break from the Scotland fullback, and she takes play up to.
Spacing behind.
There is space in behind there. Garcia kicks through. Chiefs weren't quite alert to that kick, but Desevo tracks in well and makes the tackle. Loughborough, though, have the ball back in their hands. And the Chiefs' defence now needs to put the pressure on Loughborough. The ball then back in the pocket. The kick hasn't made it to touch. Garcia to Rowley. And that's fantastic work there.
Great physicality
From the Chiefs, and there is space now if they see it. There's Jeffries. Jeffries with a wide ball out to Kate Zachary. Sees there's nobody around outside her, decides to carry hard into contact. And Garcia to Leach. Chooses not to use Nielsen, carries hard into contact. And Garcia again, Robinson. Fantastic take there under pressure from Delgado. Chiefs building nicely here. Robinson again. Allen taking play back up to the 22. There's Van der Velden. It's her carry that started this opportunity for the Chiefs. Doige at first receiver to Cato. She's met well by Antwis. Great tackle there from the second row. And Jeffries carries hard. Fantastic carry again there from the flanker. She charged over Malcolm. And Leach. Antwis again there to make the tackle. Emma Wassel alongside her. And that ball bounces about a bit, but it's picked up well by McGillivray. She carries hard and direct, but Loughborough there. That's going to be a penalty for Exeter then, playing the 9 off the ball. An interesting decision now for Exeter as well in regards to what they do.
Exactly, it's pretty windy out there. You can see the posts shaking a bit at the top. Go for points or the line out.
And Garcia then has decided to pump this one into touch for her side. Like you said, you can really see those posts shaking about in the breeze.
And our line out has been pretty successful, so I think it's a good decision to back that.
It's a good kick from Garcia, about 7 metres or so out from that Loughborough line. The last line out was secured, but it wasn't overly convincing, so pressure on now for that Chiefs pack to reward this position with that opportunity from that penalty. Phase 1 is done. Leach takes well for her side, and the driving maul set up by the Chiefs.
Some great momentum building here.
They're getting closer. They're 5 metres out. Loughborough have done well to stop that initial surge. Chiefs, though, are still trying to move forwards. Still eking further forwards, eking closer. 2 metres, 1 metre. Not quite there. The referee's having a look. Ball unplayable. Fantastic work at the maul from Loughborough. And it looks like Sadia Kabea that's getting the back slaps from her team for that work there at the breakdown.
Yeah, Exeter pack will definitely be disappointed in that, but we knew coming into this game that Loughborough has a strong catch and drive themselves, and on the flip side have a strong defensive setup as well.
Pressure still on for the visitors, though, camped on their 5 metre line. And one would expect them to use the booming boot that they have either at fly half in Roland or at 12 in Nelson to try and clear their lines. It's just slowed up a little bit in the last few minutes with these scrum resets. Maxwell then feeds in, and Malcolm again off the base, again down the channel of Robinson. The fly half stands up well though to the number 8. McGillivray comes in to help her out as well, and there is a long kick. It stays in field though, and Chloe Rowley has to go tracking back for her side. Unfortunate there for the fullback, cannot quite take the bobbling ball. And that's a huge net gain for Loughborough.
Loughborough's kicking has really helped them get out of trouble. We've seen that a couple times now with them parked up on their 5 and able to exit quite strongly.
With about 6 or 7 minutes left of this half according to our clock. An opportunity then for Loughborough again back in the Exeter 22. Malcolm has broken and gone straight down the channel of Robinson from these last few scrums. Let's see if the number 8 chooses to do so again. Loughborough have got the charge on there at the scrum. Could be a penalty coming their way. It's just a reset though as the scrum wheeled round. Loughborough though will be buoyed by that. It seems to be the first time in this match they've had a little bit of momentum at scrum time. Let's see how the Chiefs respond to this as well. Delgado just checking with the referee about the engagement. Just some words with her co-captain Zachary as well.
Defensive set will be super important for Chiefs going into the half.
Let's see what Loughborough can do then. That scrum has stayed stable. Malcolm feeds it out to Maxwell. She pops it on to Nelson. Roland out the back, and there is space to fly half though. Looks to burst through. McGillivray meets her well. Nelson then stops in at first receiver, and there is space in behind there. And that, you have to say, is a quite superb kick from Helen Nelson, finding touch just on the right side of the try line there, and it will be an extra line out, 5 metres out from their own line. But pressure really on now here for Nielsen and the lifters. Clever play there, you have to say, from Loughborough, and considering the wind, sensible play as well, just to try and keep Chiefs down in their half, in their 22, sorry, I should say, if I can get my words out. The line outs worked well though, and there's Zachary. Industrious carry from Exeter's number 8. And Chiefs then now with Cato with ball in hand, just keeping it tight, looking for an opportunity. No rush to clear their lines at the moment. It looks like it's Allen again on that far side now, with another carry for her side, and Garcia spotted some space and she's fed it out to Detereau. Sorry Rachel, I cut over you there, but that was fantastic play from the scrum half and the wing, and suddenly they're still in their half, but Chiefs now have got a little bit of front foot momentum, but Loughborough have managed to snaffle the ball back. That was Wassell there that came away with the ball for her side, fed it out to Gaffney on that far wing. Loughborough building, still building, but that one's gone forwards. Jeffries then almost bats it back volleyball style to Rowley, but everybody is unable to gather, and it will be an extra scrum just outside their 22. Sorry Rachel, I cut over you there, but that was fantastic vision and awareness from Garcia to start that off.
Yeah, definitely using Janine as a threat down the 5 meter channel. I think can see Pat spots a little bit of space and wants to take it. Definitely some momentum for the Chiefs side of what we're capable of. But again, a great turnover by Loughborough. But yeah, just a little bit of messy ball there. The wind takes it over, and now we've got a scrum back.
Just a couple of minutes left on the clock. It's been a really entertaining first half. It's been a little bit stop and start with some of the knock-ons, it has to be said, but both sides have really brought the physicality to this game, especially in defence, and that, you have to say, has been one of the defining features of this half so far. Chiefs, though, still with possession, still with an opportunity from this scrum, and Garcia goes out to roll in as a good kick through there. Is it a good kick? No, it's not. It's gone out on the full from the fullback. And it's Loughborough who are finishing the stronger in terms of possession and territory at the end of this half. You can hear "Go on Chiefs" below us as the crowd try and just roar Chiefs back into the game.
Wind affecting Loughborough too with the somewhat messy throw, not able to get a clean lift.
Slightly chaotic there at the line out, and there was a knock on. And a scrum for the Chiefs then. They've looked down that blind side several times in this match with varying degrees of success.
You can see the way it's affecting the Loughborough defense set as well. They're pretty narrow again. Just took a couple more steps in.
Let's see what Chiefs choose to do then. It's Zachary that breaks off the back. She drives hard up towards the 10-metre line. And Garcia again has seen space in behind the Loughborough defence and kicks over. Gaffney has to go chasing back, and she does well to hold on to the ball. Desivo there, unable to make a tackle on her opposite wing. And eventually she's pulled back down to ground. And a knock on from Loughborough. Panic a little bit there in the ranks, and one last opportunity here. Just enough time left on the clock for Exeter Chiefs, just outside the Loughborough 22. That was a good defensive set there from that kick through from Garcia.
Exactly. Even if we can't get them on the first hit, like we always say, a strong kick chase will get them on the second or third phase.
Messages then from Garcia out to Robinson. It'll be interesting to see what Chiefs do here. Loughborough again quite narrow on this side nearest to where we are up on the gantry, and they've put two defenders over on that far side to cover if Zachary or Garcia decides to go blind.
Exactly, we've had a lot of threats on that short side they need to respect.
That's a huge scrum though from Loughborough, and Zachary does well at the back just to try and hold on to the ball and get it away. She has eventually, and McGillivray feeds it out to Rowley. Rowley on to Sheehan. Sheehan kicks through. And it's Georgina Tasker that goes back. Chiefs then harrying the Loughborough player, trying to force her into touch. And Loughborough eventually decide to just kick it out, and that is half-time here. 7-all at Sandy Park. It's been an end-to-end match at times. Both sides have shown some endeavour in attack, but will be disappointed, you'd have to suspect so far, Rachel, with some of the handling errors.
Yeah, definitely. Some unfortunate mistakes that'll definitely need to be cleaned up in the second half, but I think we've all missed some Prem rugby, and this game is not going to disappoint.
So thank you very much for joining us. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back with you for the second half here at Sandy Park. Welcome back then to Sandy Park for the second half here. It's tied at 7 apiece. Loughborough making their way back out onto the field. And I have to say it was quite nice at half time to get into the warm, and Rachel Johnson is back alongside me now with one Exeter Chiefs branded something or other with her to at least keep her warm.
It's a nice little fleece blanket. Thank you to our support staff.
Can't go wrong there. So Loughborough then back out onto the field nice and early. We're just waiting then for the arrival of the Exeter Chiefs for this second half. For anybody that was wondering, yes, it is still bitterly cold here at Sandy Park, but it probably feels like it's got colder during that half-time break. And those cold hands in that first half let both sides down at times, and they'll want to try and rectify that this half. There's the cheer then for the Chiefs as they make their way back out onto the field. A big second half for Susie Appleby's side, and Rachel, there's a couple of changes we can see there as well for the Chiefs. Whole front row of Emily Totosi, Olivia DeMarchant and Dalika Menin, it looks like, have all come on for the side. Yeah. Not that anybody in that front row did anything wrong in the first half, but to bring those three off the benches for added impetus and firepower for this second half is such a great weapon, isn't it?
Exactly. It speaks to the depth we've got on our side. Bring on a full international Canadian front row. Definitely should add some physicality to this match. You can see a lot of energy coming from Poppy at halftime. I'm sure her and Kate had some inspiring words to bring up the energy in this second half.
So the referee's whistle has gone. We await Patricia Garcia's kick to restart proceedings. And there we go, back underway here at Sandy Park.
Great kick chase.
It's a really good kick chase then, but Loughborough quickly back into that familiar pattern of that first carry and passing it back for a booming clearance kick. Maybe not quite made as many metres there as Loughborough would have liked, but that's a solid kick to take play outside of their 22.
Exactly. It'll be interesting to see with the change of sides how the win will affect both sides in their kicking game in the second half.
Certainly will be an interesting one to watch. When I went down there at half time, the wind seemed like it had dropped off a little bit, but you never know with Sandy Park. It's a solid line out though from the Chiefs. The tap back to Garcia though doesn't quite go to hand. The scrum half has to scamper back and realign, and McGillivray's pass then cannons off of Flo Robinson's forehead.
Did not look like she was expecting that one.
And it'll be a Loughborough scrum on halfway. Disappointment there for the Chiefs, and just a little bit of miscommunication.
As you said, full change in the front row. See what this does for scrummaging.
And all three vastly experienced as well. Lots of international experience in this Chiefs side, and that's a interesting looking scrum there. The referee awards the penalty to the Chiefs, and that is just the tonic that Susie Appleby would have been hoping for at scrum time for her side. Wheeling the call from the referee, and Garcia can send this one back down into Loughborough territory. Again, sensible from Garcia, just making sure that one finds touch. And she does so on the Loughborough 10-metre line. Let's see then what Chiefs can do with this opportunity. Line out didn't quite go to plan after the initial jump last time for them. That's much better from the Chiefs. And McGillivray pops up. Go hard to call from Susie Appleby below us. And Chiefs do go hard, but Loughborough looks to have been able to hold that one up. Can they manage to enact the turnover? Chiefs are still driving forwards. Loughborough, though, seem to have done a good job now, but now the Chiefs rolling maul starts to go forwards. and they've managed to fight for the ball, have they? No. Superb work there from Loughborough. And it looks like it's Rachel Malcolm on the floor there, getting up, being congratulated by her teammates.
A definite statement from the Loughborough defense, but as you said, beautiful line out, beautiful delivery, but then a smart decision making on defense from Loughborough. I'm sure Kate won't want that to happen again.
And for the Chiefs, like I said, hopefully that will happen again. It's just about keeping that pressure on at the scrum. They managed to win a penalty against the Head last time. Let's see what they can do here with another Loughborough put in. And it's another huge scrum from the Chiefs. The referee, though, not quite happy with the engagement from either side. Scrums come up and we'll have a reset. But straight away, 4 minutes in, we've seen that impact of those fresh legs off the bench straight away.
Definitely.
Maxwell then waiting for the bind. Chiefs go early though, and it's a free kick for Loughborough, which is taken quickly by Malcolm, and she's off. Jeffries eventually, and it looked like Robinson as well there managed to eventually pull her to ground. Loughborough though looking to play quickly. Rowland now has her hands on the ball. Datisha Harper breaks through that first tackle. Garcia then manages to get there second time round. And Cabella then steps back inside, eventually pulled to ground. Penalty advantage coming for the visitors, says the referee. And the ball goes out the back from Rowland and kicked through from Nelson. Little bit of a nothing kick, the ball bouncing around. And we'll come back for that Loughborough penalty there. High tackle, the call from the referee, and an opportunity for Loughborough to get themselves down into the Exeter half here. Just a little bit slower than Chiefs will probably like it to be, but it's suiting Loughborough, and Rowland then pumps that one to near enough the Exeter 10-metre line. And Harper then making sure that Lark Davis knows the call. That's a good line out from the visitors. Maxwell to Rowland. She took that quite flat. And Loughborough feed the ball on. Back on halfway. But Malcolm, it looks like, has broken through there for the visitors up to the 10-metre line. And Loughborough playing with a bit of speed here at the start of this second half, asking questions of this Exeter Chiefs defence. But it's fantastic breakdown work though from the Chiefs to secure the penalty, and Garcia thinks about the quick one, decides not to in the end. And Loughborough were looking threatening there. That's just the tonic that Exeter needed.
Exactly. A nice turnover, I think, by Dalika there. Coming off again, another strong chop tackle.
And a little bit of deja vu here. We're back where we were a minute or so ago. An extra line out near enough on the Loughborough 10-metre line. And let's see what Chiefs can do here. It's gone over the top though. But it'll be an Exeter free kick, closing the gap at the line out. And Garcia then takes quickly. Menin, that looks like now, with her first charge of the match since she came on. And Garcia to Robinson, out the back to McGillivray. McGillivray feeds to Zachary, who pops inside. Rowley then comes up with the ball. Roland meets her, but Rowley fighting hard, pushing through that first tackle and making an extra metre or so for her side. To Tosi Jeffries then on a hard line, and she's still going. Harper eventually manages to get her to ground. A penalty advantage coming for the Chiefs as well. Passes aren't quite connecting here for the Chiefs, but it's okay, penalty advantage. Tackler not releasing the call from the referee, and Garcia looks like she will just send this one into touch. Good kick from Garcia, takes play about 10 metres out from that Loughborough line, and Tosi, much as Nielsen in the first half, wants her hands on that ball quickly. Although that stray ball is obviously going to slow things down slightly for the side. It's okay now, back in position. Messages from De Merchant. And it goes to Leach at the front, and it's taken down well by the second row. Loughborough engaged brilliantly initially and forced Chiefs back, and they have to break away from the back of that maul. And Garcia then to Leach again with another carry. Huge hit goes in on the co-captain from Loughborough. There's a brilliant line there. It's Ebony Jeffries. Superb line from the flanker, and Chiefs are in. Nearly 50 minutes on the clock. Chiefs hit the front again, and that was some line from Ebony Jeffries.
Beautiful. Ebony's been running lines like that all season. She scored a couple of tries that way, and I think this is a beautiful moment for her and the whole team. Build some momentum up there off of really a lineup that maybe didn't go perfectly, but we adapted well, and then we're able to play through the two phases and find Ebony right under the post.
It's a facet that's always been part of Ebony's game, but we've really seen it this season. Those beautiful breaks, those beautiful lines that she picks as well in attack, and she's been showing it in the Prem Cup, she's been showing it in the league, and she's now showing it at Sandy Park again as well.
Exactly. She likes to joke that she's not that fast, but her acceleration is beautiful onto the ball, and she is a strong carrier. So even if someone can get a hand on her, they're not gonna take her down.
So Garcia then to line up the conversion for her side. Wind has certainly picked up. Garcia just having one of the players hold the ball for her to make sure.
Trusting teammate.
Good nudge in the wind from Garcia, and definitely a lot of trust there in your teammates. 14-7 Exeter Chiefs lead, 50 minutes on the clock. And now the challenge for Susie Appleby's side is to make sure that they get a clean restart here and get themselves out of danger. Roland then steadies herself, looks to get play back underway. That's a challenging kick. It's been tapped back by Tosi. Huge collision in midfield, but Loughborough are the ones that come away with the ball. And that's just what the visitors wanted, and not what the Chiefs wanted at the start of this half after that score, and Loughborough then continuing to search and see what they can do with ball in hand. There's a breakthrough there. Chiefs defence needs to try and hold firm. And it looks like Olivia De Merchant in there, and Ebony Jeffries that have managed to eventually haul the Loughborough player to ground. Helen Nelson then, beautiful little run from the 12 and a fantastic offload as well. Loughborough continuing to ask questions. Chiefs though menacing at the breakdown, and Tatisha Harper out the back to Roland. Huge carry there from Malcolm, and she's met well with another strong tackle. Loughborough though still building possession. Maxwell, and there's a looping ball out there for Loughborough, and Cabea then feeds it out to Gaffney. Gaffney then does well to stay in play, eventually pulled to ground by Maisie Allen. Good work there from the winger. Harper then, huge hit on her from Olivia De Merchant. And Loughborough have made a change that I missed as well. Apologies for that. Maya Muller is on for the visitors in the back row. It's a penalty for Loughborough at the breakdown, off feet against the Chiefs. And you'd imagine here that the visitors will pump this one back into the corner and look to try and set up camp in that Exeter 22. Again, Loughborough just wanting to make sure that one finds touch with the challenging conditions out there. They find touch just inside the Chiefs 22. Lark Davis below us then. Let's see what the Loughborough line-out can do here.
They're set for their catch and drive.
Rachel bang on there, and Loughborough look to get a little bit of a rumble on at the maul. They're making meters, but Chiefs have made an absolute nuisance of that. Loughborough, though, have managed to recycle it away. Still building. Chiefs' defence, though, has managed to stop them in their tracks, and Loughborough look to try and set it again. The referee happy with play to continue at the moment. Penalty advantage for Loughborough. And Maxwell to her winger Gaffney. And there are numbers there for Loughborough. And they feed it wide. Superb tackle on that far side. Looked like Laura Sheehan out there. Try saver from her. And Loughborough still building. Chiefs defence still hassling them. Penalty advantage still, says the referee. So Loughborough look to kick through. It's gone backwards. And Desivo manages to get her hands on the ball. No advantage coming though, and we will come back for that. Penalty at the breakdown. Rachel, it's been a really good sustained period of pressure here for Loughborough so far.
Exactly, they've definitely shown that they can play through the phases. I think Chiefs have shown glimmer of some of the defense that we're known for. We just need to stay disciplined in that decision making around the breakdown. Loughborough going for the catch and drive again.
Great work there from Loughborough, and they look to have really got a march on here. Just a few metres out. Chiefs though, secondary drive, standing firm, doing well. The referee looks like he's called that once. Brilliant work. Superb work there from the Chiefs. Gets a warm round of applause from the crowd, and rightly so.
Exactly, great work by Poppy there and the whole Exeter pack. Definitely something the forwards have been working extra hard on this week in prep for Loughborough. We knew their catch and drive was coming, so.
And that's just what Exeter needed. The next challenge is to obviously get themselves out of this position. And just confirmation then that Maya Muller has come on for Sarah Svoboda in the back row for Loughborough. That change at half-time. And Garcia then will feed into this scrum. It's holding up well, and Zachary breaks free from the base, bludgeons her way over the half-back pairing of Maxwell and Rowland. And Chiefs again there look content just to keep it tight, keep these carries going, and wait for the right opportunity to either attack or clear their lines. Loughborough seem to know what's coming, and Twist there, readying herself to put the pressure on, and Garcia instead goes the other way. It's been looped out the back, and Deutsch has caught it, and Rowley then out to Sheehan. Sheehan then breaks free down the wing. Fantastic covering tackle though on that far side from Loughborough, and they bundle the winger into touch. Enterprising play there from Chiefs, but Loughborough's defence up to the task.
Yeah, unfortunate we couldn't capitalize on that. When you start to see the defense drop there, sometimes you want to, make them think that we're going to box and then play out, but that one didn't work out in our favour.
And Lark Davis then to throw for her side. Solid line out as you'd expect from the England hooker. And Loughborough again looks to play out the back, and there is space for them there. Fran Goldthorpe just has to go down onto her knees to get that ball, and that stunts the attack somewhat, but they've got a penalty advantage again at the breakdown, off feet. The call again against the Chiefs. Nelson then looks to pick up and go, but drops the ball, and we'll come back then. Loughborough penalty. And it's one of those things that coaches always say, if you make an error, don't compound it again with another. And that's a slight disappointment there for the Chiefs. And a fantastic kick from Rowland to put her side 10 metres out. And again, it's a case of as you were here, Loughborough Lightning threatening within 10 metres or so of the Exeter line, and you'd expect they'll be looking to set the maul again here and see what damage they can cause. Part one for the visitors is done with success, and they do indeed set for that maul. Struggling to get it going forward, but they seem to have found a little bit of momentum now, getting themselves within 5 of that Chiefs line, 4 of that Chiefs line, and Chiefs then respond. Is the ball playable? No, it's not.
Another excellent defensive set.
I know I've used the word deja vu a couple of times in this half, but it is again there. Loughborough getting that secondary drive, getting themselves to within sight of that Chiefs line. And Exeter's defence managing to hold firm, and they'll have the scrum 5 metres out as it begins to get a fair bit darker at Sandy Park now, with just over 20 minutes left on the clock. We didn't touch on it in the build-up, but a game like this where it seems to be that physicality is the driving factor for Susie Appleby to have that 6-2 split on the bench today as well. That could really help her side out, couldn't it, Rachel, in the long run?
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see how those energizers come on the field.
No movement at all as yet from either of the benches below us. Both coaches be fairly happy with what they've seen. And Garcia then puts in to the scrum. And Zachary again breaks free from the base. Hauled down though, and Loughborough make an absolute nuisance of themselves at that breakdown. In the end, it's Poppy Leach that has to pop up with the ball and feed it on for her side, with Garcia dragged in by the Loughborough defenders. And Exeter then, Loughborough really putting their all into those breakdowns, putting that pressure on the Chiefs and on Garcia at the back of that ruck. Antwis again just goes a second too early and has to steady herself. Garcia goes aerial. It's taken not quite well by Maxwell. Referee didn't see a knock on though, went backwards. Maxwell managing to turn her back to the ball despite dropping it, but there's a huge counter ruck comes in from the Chiefs. Play on, says the referee. DeMerchant dives on that ball. That's got the crowd off their feet. You can hear that roar, and there is space if they want to use it now for the Chiefs. Deutsch then carries hard into Nelson, and Nelson manages to stop her. That just silences the crowd slightly. But Chiefs then have possession outside the 22. Robinson does well to hold on, checks herself, goes into contact with the Loughborough defence, closing in on the outside. And Chiefs again building, looking, huge carry there. And Loughborough then again respond at the breakdown. In fact, they've come away with the ball. And Maxwell quickly into position in the scrum half roll, and there's Malcolm burst through that first tackle, and Maxwell again quick to the ball to Rowland. Rowland goes out the back to Nelson. There is space here should she choose to use it. Almost intercepted by Desivo, and she manages to get her hands on the ball. And Gaffney there knocked on under pressure. There'll be an Exeter scrum. A Loughborough change below us as well. It's Katie Trevathan and Jess Weaver readying themselves to come on for their side.
Really hear it in the stadium below us. The fans cheering. This game keeps going back and forth in possession, but some really beautiful momentum changing moments. Just seeing which team can capitalize next.
That's Jenny Maxwell and Christine Belissi coming off for Loughborough there. So Loughborough make a change at scrum half, and they make a change in the front row. as well. Rachel's bang on there. You could really hear the crowd coming to life in those last few minutes as Chiefs started to up the momentum, up the pressure, up the speed. And the referee has a big look there and gives a full penalty to the Chiefs. Tisha Harper penalised at the scrum, and that's just what Susie Appleby's side needed. And Garcia, not much angle to work with, but she will pump this one into touch for her side. And the referee just halts play. There will be a time off here with a Loughborough player down. Checking her, it's Trevarthen who's just come on, but she's okay to continue. Time on from the referee, not too much of a delay there, and it will be a line out for Chiefs just inside the Loughborough half. Toasty then to throw. Van der Velden can't quite gather, but it's gone backwards, and that's okay. McGillivray then feeds to Jeffries. Huge collision between Ebony Jeffries and the Loughborough defender, who bounces off the Exeter flanker. Chiefs then do well to hold on to the ball and build and look to take play. There's Doidge now, scragged after Robinson tried to put her through a gap, and Chiefs still looking to build. Still asking questions of that Loughborough defence. As an extra player staying down on that side, looks winded. And Robinson feeds it out to Menon. It's a good carry there from the Canadian against her former club. And Jeffries again, you can hear the reaction from the crowd whenever the flanker gets her hands on the ball. And Van der Velden. Robinson again out the back, McGillivray. Chiefs then content at the moment to run these hard lines, and Loughborough seem quite content to hold on in defence, and they'll certainly be content there. A knock on, loose hands from the Chiefs. And after an enterprising few minutes, Loughborough then will have a scrum near enough on halfway, and another change as well for the visitors. Lily Ivis Campion coming on for them, the number 19. Her first job will be to get herself straight into the mix in the scrum. Replacing Iona Antwis. Jess Weaver then to put into the scrum for her side. New scrum half onto the field. Loughborough have got the whole field to play with. They set themselves very deep. And should this ball come out from the scrum once both packs eventually decide to get themselves in and compete.
Yeah, never sure if it's tough or a blessing to come in and scrum right away as a front row sub.
I suppose on a day like this, at least it keeps you warm.
Yeah, exactly.
Still not quite working at the scrum at the moment. The referee just having a word with both front rows. And that's a much better engagement at the scrum from both packs. Weaver then searching for the ball. Free ball though at the scrum. Dirt. Little bit of a messy one there for both teams to deal with, but Loughborough managed to get their hands on the ball and come away with it. Chiefs did well to disrupt, but there is an opportunity now for Loughborough. They've broken through a missed tackle there. It's Sadia Kabea, it looked like, that burst through for Loughborough to take play into the Chiefs half. There's Nelson with an inside ball to Malcolm. She stopped in her tracks, and Weaver again then out to the outside centre, Georgina Tasker, for first half try scorer for the visitors, and Rowland then back into her normal position at first receiver. Good tackle from Exeter, but a penalty for Loughborough, not releasing again the call at the breakdown. You just feel in this last 5 minutes or so, they might be down on the scoreboard, but Loughborough seem to have shifted the momentum slightly in their favour here.
Yeah, definitely. And now with a beautiful kick, move their way into the 22.
And Loughborough then, they're a bit further out than they have been the last couple of times they've got themselves into the Chiefs 22, but it's still a good attacking opportunity for them, and they've got the space and the width in the back line if they choose to use it as well.
Looks like with their setup, they've decided to back their catch and drive again.
Lark Davis then, it's a nice clean line out for Loughborough, and they look to maul it. They're having more success this time than they have on the previous two occasions. Made 5 metres or so already. Referee's arm is out as well. Chiefs then have managed to stop that at the second attempt, and the ball then has come out for Loughborough. A little kick through, little chip. It's been gathered though by Chiefs, and will come back for a Loughborough penalty.
Well defended there by Chloe.
It's time off as well here. Referee just having a word. And you suspect that's a message to be passed on to Chiefs. No more penalties in the red zone. Loughborough, as you'd expect then, will pump this one back into touch.
Defending in this space can be such a challenge. You want to go all in intensity-wise, but you need to stay extremely blue-headed and stay nice and clinical and legal. Don't want to give them an easy out.
Loughborough do indeed pump that one into touch, 5 metres out. Abby Fleming below us, ready to come on for her side, but Loughborough will have the line out first. That one doesn't quite work as intended, but they've still managed to keep hold of the ball. And they won't be able to get the rolling maul going, but they will be able to carry hard. Harper, it looks like there, with a solid carry for her side. Still 5 metres out. And there's Weaver and Loughborough then still asking questions, probing, keeping it tight at the moment, trying to play the Chiefs at their own game in this red zone. Little show and go and turn. And Harper again pops up with another carry for her side. Manages to get herself to ground. The ball's been popped out there. Weaver manages to do well to get it out quickly. And there is space on that side for Loughborough initially, but Chiefs eventually managed to haul the player down. Penalty advantage arm out, it looked like again from the referee. And these are starting to mount up now against the Chiefs. In fact, it is a penalty advantage. Referee's arm is out. And Loughborough then just creeping infield, creeping forward as well. And that one's picked up by Helen Nelson. She carries hard into contact. And Loughborough then go quickly down the short side. Back to within 5 metres of the Exeter line now.
Good pressure here to slow down that ball.
And they're spreading it wide. There is an opportunity. You'd imagine Rowland with the kick through. Has Garcia or Sheehan got the legs to get there? It's Garcia who has the legs. But there's a yellow card for the Chiefs. It's Maisie Allen who will spend the rest of this match off the field for her side. Too many penalties for the referee's liking in the red zone for the Chiefs. This is going to be a real effort now for the last 9 or 10 minutes if Loughborough stay camped.
Seriously, naughty from the flanker, but this will give a good rallying cry for Exeter to get behind and know they need to work extra hard with 14 on the field.
Abby Fleming then is stripped off and ready to go below us, and the number 20 then is coming onto the field. Merrin Doidge then sacrificed for the Chiefs so that they can have a full complement in the scrum.
And it looks like Zachary might be moving to the backfield.
I suppose it's the one positive you have with Chiefs. Kate's played in the centres several times already for the club. Loughborough, though, have got that line out working. Chiefs have done well to disrupt it initially. And the visitors are 5 metres out. They carry hard, break through that first tackle, but eventually pull down. It's a penalty, though, for Exeter.
Super important penalty here for Exeter. Tough for Loughborough not be able to get points away from that.
And after all of that pressure, Chiefs have the opportunity to clear their lines. Loughborough then readying a sub below us as well. It's Bryony Field who is ready to come on. In the meantime, safe kick from Garcia just to find touch on the 22 for her side. And Loughborough will in fact be making that sub now. Bryony Field making her way on for Lark Davis at hooker, who's had another strong game after coming back from international duty. And Loughborough look to Field to inject some energy into that pack for this final 6 or 7 minutes. Chiefs line out though has to be sound, has to be secure, and it isn't. Free kick though for the Chiefs. And that's a let off for the home side there. Loughborough look like closing the gap again at the line out from this vantage point. And Garcia taps the free kick, boots it long. And that's a sensible decision there from the scrum half. But it's been carried back and has gone out on the full. So after all that hard work for the Chiefs, Loughborough will have a line out on the Exeter 22, and they need to get that defensive set right again here, Rachel.
Exactly. It's almost like we like the challenge.
Definitely do. And let's see then a first line out for Bryony Field. Solid work, and Loughborough get that rolling maul going. And there's still opportunities for Loughborough. They've just had to check themselves slightly, but there is space. And they cut back inside now on the Exeter 22, pushed back slightly by the Chiefs' defence, but there is space out wide here. Goldthorpe looks to break. She's into the 22. She goes through the first tackle, eventually hauled to ground. And Weaver there quickly. And Cabella then just tips the ball on. Chiefs have got to be squeaky clean here. Rowland then to Malcolm. That looked like a good carry there from the number 8. And there's Weaver again. Rowland though has lost the ball, and it's a let off for Exeter Chiefs. The fly half be disappointed with that one. Time starting to tick away on this match. Chiefs still camped down deep inside their half. Loughborough continuing to ask questions. And an opportunity now at the scrum for the Chiefs to just get some hands on the ball and wrestle back a little bit of possession from this game.
Exactly. Hopefully we can get some good forward from this, go forward from this set piece and get out of our defending half.
Let's see then what happens at this scrum for the Chiefs. It's a great effort though from Loughborough, and they've won the penalty. And they'll pump this one back into the corner. Superb kick, as you'd expect from Rowland, and the visitors are 5 metres out here. And it's not quite panic stations, but it certainly has to the pump for Exeter Chiefs.
Exactly. Interesting decision there by Exeter to only scrum with 7. And another opportunity for Exeter to show their line out D.
And the pressure really is going to be on here. It's a great line out from Loughborough. They set themselves for the maul. Chiefs respond well initially.
Good initial hit.
But Loughborough then come back at them after that first initial drive. And they're getting closer, much closer to that Chiefs line. It's slightly scrappy. And Exeter, it seems, have come away with the ball, managed to turn it over. Crucial turnover there. Couldn't quite see who that was on the floor.
Great job to the forward pack there.
And Exeter then just need to keep their hands on this, play sensible.
Just under 2 minutes left.
And it's a nail biter here at Sandy Park. Not much longer left in this game for either side.
This kick chase will be crucial.
It's a good kick from Garcia, taken well by Loughborough. It's a fantastic chase from the Chiefs, a superb tackle as well. Loughborough though still have the ball in their hands. They're going to look to try and build something here. Harper with the tip on. Stadium clock says we're into the final minute. My clock up here says we've got a little over a minute to go, but there's certainly not too much longer left. Weaver then with her hands on the ball, little show and go, and she feeds off to Harper as a sensible decision. Huge tackle there from Exeter. Loughborough continuing to probe, continuing to ask questions as they've done for much of this half. Chiefs still defending with 14 players. Little half break there from Loughborough. That the defence is up to the task at the moment. Harper again with her hands on the ball. Rowland feeds the ball on under pressure. And Loughborough still have their hands on the ball. But there is space out wide now if they choose to use it. This Tasker then cuts inside, cuts in field, chooses not to feed out wide to Gaffney. And there's a knock on there from Ivis Campion. And indeed that is that. Exeter Chiefs then back to winning ways in the Premier 15s. They were made to work hard for it. They had to defend for their lives for much of that half. But in the end, Rachel, it was Ebony Jeffries' try there that was the crucial difference maker.
Yeah, Ebony Jeffries had an amazing game. Strong carries, strong defense. Maybe it's the blue boots, we're not sure. But like you said, really strong effort there in the second half by the Chiefs, especially playing down with 14. They were able to, every time Loughborough got momentum, take it away from them just before they got over the try line.
And there'll be a lot to work on, I'm sure, from Susie Appleby's perspective going into next weekend. But after that defeat to Saracens, it's getting back to winning ways. That's the most important thing, and keeping that home fortress record intact.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, mistakes will happen in rugby. It's just always about the way that we respond to them. So super proud of the teammates today. Again, like you said, lots to work on before our next match, but a solid win and something to celebrate today.
Just quickly reflecting then one final time, which were the players that stood out for you today?
Like I said, I thought Ebony had a smashing game, not just with her try, but strong carries, strong work over the ball, and really nice go forward on defense as well. Poppy worked really well in that line out D. She does a lot of work that you don't always see on the field. She's at almost every breakdown, and I think her leadership in the line out really served us well and was able to take away one of Loughborough's biggest threats.
So a win then for Exeter Chiefs at Sandy Park, and like Rachel said, an effort in the end, one that the pack helped deliver for the side. Rachel, it's been great to have you with me today up in the slightly cold commentary box. I know I keep saying it, and I've said it a lot for the last 2 hours, but I am going to emphasise it one final time. A really strong display from both sides. Thank you very much for joining us from wherever you've been watching today. If you're in the area, if you're local, if you're in Devon, make sure you get yourselves down here for the next home game for the Chiefs women at Sandy Park, and you can buy your tickets online now. Make sure to follow at @XChiefsWomen on Twitter and official Exeter Chiefs on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest content and behind the scenes action. as well as the full-time reports and reaction from here at Sandy Park. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you again in a few weeks' time for the next one.
Thank you so much.